CNN News.
Speaking of times are tough, you could accept $7,000 from Israel to have good posts, I hear, but that's not the only way they're influencing people. We'll get to that. But I found this. This is comes out of Responsible Statecraft. But they write Israel wants to train ChatGPT to be more pro-Israel because it wasn't already pro-Israel enough, So I think you'll find it interesting how they plan on doing that. So here, the government of Israel has hired a new conservative-aligned firm, Clock Tower X LLC, to create media for Gen Z audiences in a contract worth $6 million. At least 80% of the content Clock Tower produces will be tailored to Gen Z audiences across platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, podcasts, and other relevant digital and broadcast outlets with a minimum goal of 50 million impressions per month. Clock Tower will even deploy websites and content to deliver GPT framing results on GPT conversations. In other words, Clock Tower will create new websites to influence how AI GPT models, such as ChatGPT, which are trained on vast amounts of data from every corner on the internet, frame topics and respond to them, all on behalf of Israel. As part of this work, the firm will also use search engine optimization software Market Brew AI, a predictive AI platform that helps clients adapt to algorithms and promote their work on search engines like Google and Bing to improve the visibility and ranking of relevant narratives. Clock Tower will integrate its pro-Israel messaging into Salem Media Network Properties, a conservative Christian media group that boasts a vast radio network and produces high-profile shows such as The Hugh Hewitt Show, The Larry Elder Show, and The Right View with Laura Trump. In April, the conservative media network announced Donald Trump Jr. and Laura Trump as significant stakeholders in the company. Salem Media Network did not respond to a question clarifying whether it would be compensated by Clock Tower for promoting messages on behalf of Israel or how these messages would be integrated. Of course they wouldn't. Former Trump campaign manager Brad Perscale, the advisor who hired the controversial micro-targeting firm Cambridge Analytica during Trump's 2016 campaign, is at the center of the Israeli government's New Deal. Clock Tower is led by Perscale, who is also the new chief strategy officer for the Salem Media Group. It is contract. Clock Tower does not reveal much about what kinds of messaging will be promoted on behalf of Israel. According to its filing under the Foreign Agents Relations Act, Clock Tower was hired to help execute a nationwide campaign in the United States to combat, guess what, Collin? Anti-Semitism. Yay! The firm's point person is Aaron Shachevich, the chief of staff at Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. According to Shachevich's LinkedIn profile, he is leading a campaign called Project 545, which aims to amplify Israel's strategic communication and public diplomacy efforts. Clock Tower's work will be targeting a sector of the American populace that has broken sharply from its support for Israel. A July Gallup poll found that only 9% of Americans aged 18 to 34 support Israel's military action. Other polls show Israel's favorable falling more generally among the American public. Clock Tower will also complete an initial, crucial demographic and sentiment research report for Israel within 30 days. Another American firm, Stagwell Global, recently conducted a similar survey for the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. While the findings were far more favorable to Israel than other surveys, the poll, which was leaked to, guess who? Dropsite News, still found that 47% of Americans believe that Israel is committing genocide. Can we stop leaking shit to drop? Have y'all figured out Dropsite News yet, or is it just me? Y'all figured out that's rebranded Intercept? It's paid by the same people? Okay. Yeah, I'll wait till y'all catch up. In a meeting with pro-Israel influencers on Friday, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu explained that social media is the most important weapon Israel has at its disposal. We're going to have to use the tools of battle. Go ahead.
which they suck at right now.
Yes. Yeah, they're not winning that battle. We're going to have to use the tools of battle. The weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well. The most important ones are the social medias. So, yeah. Netanyahu even touted the purchase of TikTok as a group of investors is making a play to buy the company. Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, who is the single biggest private donor to the IDF, is poised to play a large role in the deal. I hope it goes through. Could be consequential, said Netanyahu, especially when you've got Barry Weiss getting her new job too. Clock Tower is conducting the work for Havas Media Network, an international media company that is working for the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs via the Israeli government advertising agency. Clock Tower is not the only American firm that Havas has subcontracted as part of its work. Earlier this month, Sludge reported that Havas had hired Democratic-aligned public relations firm SDK Knickerbocker on a $600,000 contract to run a bot farm for promoting pro-Israeli narratives on social media, which we covered. And they immediately tried to walk that back. So, but I'm trying to remember. Can you remember the name of the conservative group in that we talked about then? I don't think it's the same one as this Clock Tower one.
I don't think so, no.
But I can go look later. But SKDK's work into Justice Clock Towers is beginning. Clock Tower drafted a contract on August 27th, 2 days before SKDK deregistered its work for Israel. In a statement to Politico, a spokesperson for SKDK declined to explain why the firm ended its work for Israel, simply stating that the work had run its course. SKDK Havas and an associate of Clock Tower did not respond to requests for comments on this article. Thoughts so far, Care Bear, before I add on to this? Same. Yep.
Same.
Yep. It's just new shit to look out for. You know, I don't think people realize how much influence is being done on social media. I think they know, but like, I don't think they know, you know, like take what you thought it was and quadruple it, you know? Mm-hmm. So, you know, as my friend Oz would tell me, there's an ancient Russian proverb of don't trust nobody. All right. That's pretty much how this works, you know? So, but in other news, Dave DeCamp, antiwar.com, go bookmark that, writes Israel to spend up to $4.1 million on propaganda campaign targeting American Christians. The campaign will involve ads that spread a pro-Israel and anti-Palestinian message and sending a mobile October 7th experience to church parking lots. Yeah.
Wait.
I said that shit again.
A mobile
October 7th experience to church parking lots.
Well, I don't. What does that mean?
I will fucking explain that shit. All right. What? So this is why, like, how many people you heard talk about this? Nobody. That's why we do this shit. We tell you, and then 8 other fucking content creators 3 months from now, when they find out, will end up doing it. But you heard that shit here first. And you know what? Y'all better tell them. Y'all heard that shit here first. Anyway, the Israeli Foreign Ministry is planning to spend up to $4.1 million for propaganda campaign that will target American evangelical Christians. A project is being sold as the largest Christian church geofencing campaign in U.S. history. The Jewish Telegraph Agency reported on a federal filing under the Foreign Agents Registration Act that shows the Israeli ministry has hired a newly formed U.S.-based firm, Show Faith by Works, LLC, which will target churchgoers with digital ads that are explicitly pro-Israel and anti-Palestinian. The campaign will also involve creating a mobile October 7th experience, quote unquote, that will visit Christian colleges, churches, and events. The document says the experience will involve a custom-built trailer designed by Hollywood experts, virtual reality headsets, set pieces, and full-length TVs for an interactive experience.
So wait, they're using virtual reality in order to plug people in
Propagandize.
of what happened on the October 7th?
Yeah, they'll put yourself in the, eyes of an Israeli victim. Whatever that shit means.
Except we've seen that online, given what the Palestinians have been through for the past 2 years. So they're 2 years
Yeah.
too late.
They gotta make it up. They gotta fucking get the 3D modeling software out, open up Maya,
And I'm not even saying this, but the
get fucking
implication is they're going
Unreal.
to promote heavily Islamophobic,
Oh, for sure.
and as stereotypical as it can get.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
so, but the idea of like Hamas as savages and all this kind of
Oh,
bullshit.
they'll give you a gun to use in the VR experience too, and you can shoot back at those savages. It'll be the perfect propagandizing fucking nonsense. Like, this is why I brought that shit, because like it's gonna show up in y'all's neighborhoods. That little fucking van will be there. So be ready for that shit. That's gonna be. I can't wait to see what that fucking bullshit's gonna be. So, ugh. The filing lists hundreds of churches in California, Texas, Colorado, and Arizona that will be targeted by the information campaign. According to an invoice, Show Faith by Works expects to receive $3.25 million from the Israeli Foreign Ministry over a 5-month period and includes a potential additional $835,000 for equipment and expansion of the campaign. The document, which was filed on September 27th, says one of those activities of the campaign will be to combat low American evangelical Christian approval of the nation of Israel. One of the goals of the campaign is to use a combination of personal and professional outreach to the Christian community, combined with digital targeting and social media outreach to increase positive associations with the nation of Israel while linking the Palestinian population with extremist factions. So, standard shit from them, but...
Which, again, has not worked.
Yeah.
So, that hasn't worked. So, It's kind of like the very definition of insanity here. Like, this should be illegal, honestly. Like,
yeah. Like, imagine if Russia did that shit. Imagine if, like, any other country,
China
African country, right.
Right.
Yep. Exactly. The propaganda campaign targeting American Christians is part of Israel's PR blitz in response to its significant loss of support among Americans. Another recent FARA filing revealed that Israel is paying influencers around $7,000 per pro-Israel post on social media, which we mentioned at the top of this.
Right.
So
it's funny though, like given what Van Jones said. Regarding like, oh, what we're seeing online in terms of Palestinians, it's nothing but like Iran and Qatar propaganda.
Yeah.
He hasn't said anything about this though, which funny enough, I actually heard on the way home that he's actually a part of a mentor group. I think as far as social media influencers who are connected with CNN and the New York Times to promote pro-Israel like Hasbara.
Yeah.
So obviously obviously we know Van is a bitch. So like obviously that's like on code for him. But but yeah, it's like he had a problem with what he's seeing online, but he wouldn't have a problem with anything like this though.
No.
So sick and really so telling. Like how low these people can go in order to promote. And for what? Just for a few extra dollars?
Well, it's more than just that for a lot of them. It's like notoriety and like being in the right rooms and, it's playing the game. They are a part of that. So, But I don't think I wanted to bring this because I don't think people realize like how much influence, like how much money, like if you this is just the shit we found. You know what I mean? This is the shit that have been filed and up front. You know, that we've looked at. There's probably other shit filed and up front that we haven't looked at, washed in 3 other LLCs, and you know, like I don't try, but like look at what they're targeting. They're targeting TikTok. They're targeting your churches. They're targeting your community centers. They're targeting, like, I mean, this is classic PR campaign, you know, and they're paying millions of dollars for this. So, you know, like, I just don't think it's working. I think partially it is, but you know, who are they going to reach with that stuff these days? The people who don't know, mainly, you know, kids and shit, which is what they're also targeting.
If the Zionist lobby was able to lose Charlie Kirk allegedly, then yeah, I'm not sure how. I think this is just going to backfire, which in a way I kind of welcome, especially given the Christian church, like, because it just kind of exposes the church for how low they have gone in terms of their uncritical stance of Israel. And I'm not saying like Christians in general, I'm saying like, and not even all churches, but like the church as an institution is what I'm talking about here. It's like, because Jesus was from there and all this stuff, that the nation in of itself as it currently is, which by the way is totally different from the Israel or the Palestine that Jesus and whoever in the Bible talked about. Like, what we're talking about with Israel now is a modern invention by the UN, which Zionists essentially exploited.
Yep.
The idea of what, and even with that, and I'm just going to go off on a tangent, like, given my interpretation of the Bible, I don't think God ever meant it to be like, to be about land. I think it meant, and especially with the coming of Jesus, it was the idea of the people who are representative of God to be the light, not to have the land in order for you to, you know, exploit people off of, but it was to use your faith to bring light to the world, not to do it in terms of having a little sliver of land that, again, that you exploited by from other people who have been living there for generations. But
which is how it's been used about 99.9% of the time. Like, like your interpretation of it may be different, but the church's interpretation has been.
I just really hate how, like, Israel, especially within the church, has been used above reproach because essentially it's the place where Jesus was born.
Which
when it's
him even existing, him even fucking existing is questionable. Like,
but even with that, you know, like, you're giving praise or you're running cover for a country where if Jesus was born today, would have killed him.
Right.
So,
like, would have fucking droned him. You know? Just sad.
And I'm sure people that's why, in the church are not thinking of it in that way.
It's one of the reasons, like, I was going to church around the time, like, you know, the Iraq and Iran war was happening. And it was like the same shit. And I just found it very, like, you know, disgusting. Like, so, yeah, silliness. But, like, be on your P's and Q's, everyone. Keep an eye out for the new influencers on your social medias. And I'm sure old influencers on social media. And, you know, shame on you people thinking it's funny to sarcastically be like, I'll take the money, I'll sell out. We've seen that joke before, and it's not good. And y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all seen it, and the ones who know might even be listening. Shame on you. Shame on you. All right? Not funny. But, like and subscribe, hit the share button. Very simple shit you could be doing. You make up for it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Who else is going to be influenced by this shit? How terrifying is the October 7th VR experience going to be? It's going to be fucking wild. Hopefully Gal Gadot will not be starring in it. Hopefully. But, who knows, dude? But
who knows?
Anyway, thanks for watching.